Hi, gorgeous ones. I'm just preparing to do my shadow workshop group tonight, and I'm having some interesting reflections that I thought I would share. What is the relationship between shadow and trauma and triggers? So, triggers are a fault line. Trauma is when we are disconnected from our own light. And triggers are the fault line that where this happens, that show us where this separation is happening. And our shadow is everything that lies outside of our awareness, all the light, all the information, all the feelings, all the juiciness, all the truth that exists in us that we are not in contact with. So there's certain fractures that happen, and these fractures are trauma, and trauma becomes a fault line. And underneath that is where the shadow lies. So, for example, I was working a trigger of mine of if I perceive people to be stuck in victim mentality, I notice like a strong emotional reaction. So what is this? This is somehow a trauma for me, right? So this is somehow, some way where I'm disconnected from myself in a very specific fractured point of my being. So how do I go into that and look at that? So first of all, I'm like, that person's in victim mode. So how do I feel? I feel kind of like helpless, hopeless, overwhelmed. I feel like I can't help them. Like I want to be like, you can do it. You're strong. You're powerful. You're creating your reality. And if I feel like I can't reach them with that, and they're just like very much stuck in the victim, I have this feeling of like like I feel stuck and overwhelmed, and it triggers me, right? So what does this have to do with my own shadow and my own trauma? So first of all, it's pointing to codependent behavior because of like my desire and my need to like want to fix, right? But that's a different note. That's just how we adapt to these fractures, to the trauma and the triggers and the fractures that we keep below the shadows. So I see someone, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're stuck in their trauma. I can't help them. I can't help them. What's going on? Okay, so if I turn that back on myself, right? How do I interact with the part of myself that is a victim? It's like, nope, girl, you better pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You better get out of this. You're powerful. You're a powerful creator. You can do it. And so if I ever begin to feel if I ever begin to feel depressed, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be depressed. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to, and so, but perhaps there are still tender victim parts of myself that I'm out of touch with. Do you see? That are still in my shadows. These tender parts of myself that I'm disconnected with, that this fault line of feeling triggered is showing me. So, what is the work? How have I not allowed myself to honor the part of myself that is a victim? Now, what is a victim? A victim is simply someone who has had something happen to them that they didn't want to happen, that they didn't like, right? So my victim lives in the shadow. So if I want to be a more powerful person, I must also honor my victim. And what does that look like? It looks like, slowing down and listening and acknowledging the mishap, the ignorance, the wrong step, the having the innocence. And when I can slow down and be with my own innocence, that feels really tender for me. That feels very scary. That's something I don't like to come in contact with. My tender innocence. So that is my shadow work and how it plays out as a trigger. And that's the fracture. So anytime that we see in someone else and we're like, how could they do that? Or that person's bad, or whatever. Anytime we point our finger, there's 3 fingers pointing back at ourselves. So what part of yourself have you disowned? What parts of yourself are out of your awareness? What parts of yourself do you need to reclaim in order to step into your full power, into remembering your wholeness? And when we think that we need to get something from outside of ourselves, it's just a reminder for us to look inside. And triggers are actually gold mines. Gold mines. They're gold mines pointing towards the fractures in our being that lead to remembering our wholeness. Leonard Cohen said, everyone has cracks, that's how the light gets in. And then Amanda Flaker said, triggers can be gold mines or land mines, right? So honoring the trigger, honoring the shadow and the light and the wholeness. What's in the shadow is not bad. The victim is not bad. It's just a very, 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 very tender part of myself that feels terrifying to approach. Terrifying to approach. So it's like, nope, I'm not a victim. I'm pulling myself up by my bootstraps. I'm not a sweet, innocent, ignorant, little, helpless being. I'm strong, and I'm creating my reality. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so triggers, trauma, gold mines, shadow, wholeness. Yeah. Whew. Thanks for listening. I love you.